You know, I don't know how it's the same myself, you know. What advice do you have for somebody that wants to pursue this and, you know, is kind of concerned about the monetary repercussions of that?
You have to walk both lines in the sense of an activism and communication of new ideas, and also don't compromise yourself and your own well-being because you do need a job. I need a job. Everyone needs a job. You can't not have a job in this system. That's just what the system is. I have run into some people that have been inspired by these ideas, and they'll run out and try to develop their own little communities and get off the grid. You know, that's great for them if they can pull it off, but that doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the system. So all I can really say is that you have to kind of wear this idea on your shoulder. So when you're interacting and you're engaging, you're always willing to bring it up. You're always willing to spread the information. Hopefully your job maybe has a social contribution on a different level. Like if I used to work in advertising, there's nothing there that even remotely contributes to anything. So if you have to work in that field, I don't hold it against you. You know, that's just do what you have to do to make money. That's what this system demands. But all I can really say is you have to find that balance between not feeding into this system too much, into the hyper materialism, the conspicuous consumption. And obviously, based on your comment, you obviously do not. And if you find people that do feed into the conspicuous consumption and all the kind of psychological fraud that's been imposed on people to keep this system going by consuming and the vanity and the distortion of morality and not morality, the distortion of values to try and make people feel like they have to engage in all this materialistic stuff in order to keep the system going. If you can communicate that to people, that's a very good step. And ultimately, it's just a process of communication and balancing your own life without, of course, compromising your well-being. It's a difficult line to walk, believe me. I know that feeling very, very well in the subtle freelance work that I'll continue to have to do, and you just think to yourself, God, I just can't stand this, because it doesn't do anything, and it just makes you mad. But that's the way it is for now. And if everyone got together and knew about these ideas, it could change very, very rapidly. It could change very, very rapidly. Once people understand that advertising does nothing, yet it's the highest paid, that and essentially the financial markets are the highest paid industries, with some exception, but ultimately incredibly high rates of payment in these industries for two things that contribute nothing to society, have no social contribution whatsoever, huge drivers of GDP. I can go on and on in different aspects of it, but all I can say is walk the line as best you can, and I unfortunately can't give a better answer than that. I don't know if either of you want to comment on such a...
Yeah, I just had a quick comment. You have to realize we're in transition times, and we're all prostitutes in this system. Right. Everybody's selling something. You're in advertising and you sell your voice for toothpaste or something like that. We're all prostitutes, so we have to live within this system too. As long as you're educating yourself and talking to others, as Peter said.
So use it as a forum or a platform to keep doing what we're trying to do.
Right, that would be helpful too.
Yeah.
And keep working towards this. Read more, learn more, so you can talk to others and answer questions.
In my opinion, the only way something like this will manifest, it's not going to happen through a government institution. There isn't going to be some elected official that says, oh, let's move in this direction. It's just not going to happen. The process of moving through the structure to even get close to obtain a position of power in the system nullifies any concept of anything that's counter to the status quo. And you see that throughout the entire political spectrum of those that gently begin to challenge it. They're ridiculed and attacked and banned and dismembered in many different ways. You can't go against this system. It's like a cancer. It's not recognized by the immune system. It's a cancer that's there that we just accept, and we think that we can't fight it because the system doesn't see it. And that's what I mean as far as the monetary system. And what I would add is parasites and prostitutes is my favorite phrase. That's really what it is. It's parasites and prostitutes. All you can be in this system is either a parasite or a prostitute. That's it. I mean, I don't say that to be demeaning towards anybody in the room. That's what it is. It's parasitic in the sense that, well, what does an advertising company do? It latches onto a corporation and siphons money from them under the guise of promoting their product. What does a corporation itself do? It's a prostitution institution, which has a bunch of people that work for it, and they sell themselves, sell their labor, sell their ideas for other people to utilize. And I'll leave it at that, because I can run on a tangent. So, next.
I just want to mention something. And being a cancer, it'll eventually eat its host.
Indeed.
Kill its host.
That's what it's in the process of doing right now.
Yes.
I've noticed from all the 3 movies that I've watched, there's a great concentration of people in the so-called humanities or human sciences that appear on camera and lend credence to everything you're saying. I wonder if there is any fear or not enough buy-in from the natural science. For example, one of the hopeful things that you say at the end of Addendum and even now is that we can generate much more energy than we need already from geothermal sources, aeolic energy and so on and so forth, solar, etc. But we don't see any of those people, geologists or except for the people in oil at the end today, people from those hard sciences, natural sciences, on camera. Is there not enough buy-in from those scientific communities, or are they afraid to show up on camera? What's the situation there?
Well, I bet Jacques could comment a little bit on the Okay, well, she can tell you.
Essentially, why aren't the academicians and scientists picking up in this direction?
Wait, he was also related to energy too, so let me just comment on that, the energy issue. The energy issue, I think, it's actually quite prevalent. There are plenty of renewable mediums and plenty of very, very profound mediums, in fact, that are not talked about, such as pressure transducers, things that I didn't even know about until I was introduced to Jacques. The things we talk about in the media, like solar and wind, these are only a fraction of the type of energy possibilities out there in a renewable sense. There are many things that are very counterintuitive to people. This building right now is moving, and you could build into this building pressure transducers that can create energy based on just the stabilization and constant motion of this building. Now that might seem very minimal, but in fact it's quite powerful when you put the math together. But would you like to comment on academics? It's on.
It is?
Yes.
Can you hear me back there?
Yes.
Well, I don't think that we can do anything to patch up this system. I think it's falling apart. I don't know why, but I've got a rough idea that our President of the United States sold out because he gave the money to the people that created the problem in the first place. So I really don't have any confidence at all in any politicians. But I would rather you didn't take my word for it. I'd rather you question politicians. Ask them how to grow more food for people. They'll say, I don't know. How can you prevent war? I don't know. How can you transmit power along transmission lines with minimal losses? I don't know. Well, what the hell are they doing there? They don't know anything. I've never met a politician that can answer any of those questions. So you vote for those people and you think that they have some kind of knowledge. They don't. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Well, if you use politics in a system this far advanced technically, you're hurting technology, you're hurting yourselves. Soldiers today, from my point of view, are trained killing machines. If we had anything to do with it, we would send all the soldiers back to school to become problem solvers, how to bridge the difference between nations, how to solve problems, not merely kill. When you kill people, you build hatred over the years. I guess in India they call it the law of karma. But we're producing a very bad thing as we bomb cities and kill women and children. I don't even understand the anti-abortionists. They will shoot a doctor that does abortions. Yet when war comes, we kill pregnant women, children, bomb cities, flatten out everything. You would imagine that the abortionists would fight war, the anti-abortion people, but they don't. So it just shows you how much control there is over our way of looking at things. We're all distorted by our propaganda, by motion pictures, by television. All newscasts are managed. They don't give the news, and nobody has ever lived in a democracy.